So, what do you actually do when a decision or a thought or something is replaying in your mind at night and you just can't get rid of it? It's just affecting your evening, your sleep, or whatever. What do you do? Well, a lot of people try to find something in the moment, right? You're trying to journal, you're trying to do some breathing technique or whatever, and that might absolutely work. It might work in the moment. But here's the key: we are trying to solve a problem that didn't appear in the moment. This problem appeared during the day when a decision actually took place, or whatever it was. So, what we're missing is we're solving the symptom, not the actual problem. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's awesome actually to do it. That's one way of handling it, right? But we also, or much rather, want to solve the real problem. So we want to understand the timeline that went on here, right? So we made a decision, we're trying to handle it in the moment, but something wasn't quite resolved. Some type of tension existed, whatever that may be. We weren't 100% sure about the decision. Perhaps there was other alternatives that felt that they were also good enough, or there was just something around there that kept lingering in our head. So whatever that was, we thought we moved on, right? And during the day, it kept replaying in our mind, regardless if we notice it or not, right? It's still there. And then comes the end of the day, and suddenly it's there. Ah, I should have just chosen the other direction, whatever it is, right? So, what are we doing with this? Well, we first need to understand that this happened, and we don't really need to do much about it. We can journal to get rid of it, absolutely, but we want to have our way of dealing with this in the moment when it actually took place. Meaning, how do you make decisions? How do you make decisions so that you actually finish it and don't move on with it? Because it's one thing if we haven't made the call yet, right? If we haven't made a decision and we keep thinking about it all day because we're going to make it the next day, that's one thing, right? But it's very different if we made a decision, but we didn't really actually make the decision fully. We didn't feel like we actually closed it. And if that's the case, well, we need to find our way in the moment of solving it, and we are actually solving the real problem. Well, how do we do this? First of all, we need to understand why this exists. What's underneath here? I like to call it the pressure point. Just especially if the stakes are high, the pressure analogy works more, right? Because we feel like there is pressure to perform or pressure to deliver in some way, and through that, we just put so much more attention to the decision. And even though we might have chosen perfectly or not, honestly, it doesn't even really matter in the context of why it's replaying at night, right? Because the reason it's doing this is just the unresolved tension that was lingering throughout the day, regardless if you notice it or not. And that's what we're solving for. That's actually the problem we're solving for, not making the right decision. I'm sure you're already good at that. And if you're not, it's a whole nother topic. I'd love to talk about it. But how do we solve it? Well, first of all, what is hindering us? Is there this experience pressure? Is that a problem? Okay, let's solve for that. Or is there a way of making the decision that we are sure and clear about? Do we have our decision mechanism or decision process that we always go through? Do we have some principles to rely on or whatever? That's awesome, right? But then in the moment, are we able to think clearly? Are we foggy, sort of having a foggy experience in the moment? Because that's not helpful either, right? So if you solve these things, you're probably going to have way less of that replaying happening during the day, and then that's your way of solving it. If we solve for these things, we're one step closer, but also just don't take my word for that these are the things. Just go ahead and experiment yourself. Like, if you just trust general advice on what you're actually going to do here, then you end up just doing a bunch of journaling in the evening, honestly. And that's not long-term sufficient, right? So we can do that, but we also need to find our way in the moment. Very personal. And honestly, the best idea ever, or the best way of solving this, is to not do anything at all in the moment. Because it's so intuitive that we have done it for so many times. And then it's just another decision. It's just the same old process. I know how to relate to it. And there's no unfinished business within you about that decision. So suddenly you move on with your day, regardless of how busy it is, regardless of how many more decisions you have to make that are high stakes and important to you. You just move on. Just have a normal evening like anyone else. And there's no unresolved tension.